I think that the critical changes that have happened over the last 5 years in the marketplace really revolve around two critical areas. So one area is the fact that the nature of the response that law firms need to do in business development has become very dynamic. So the content is dynamic, and that primarily shows up in the form of RFP. So where traditionally a pitch book and a relationship was used as a method to respond to business opportunity, what's now happened is that firms have begun to commoditize law services, and procurement becomes involved, and procurement's tool is an RFP response. And so therefore that creates significant challenges, not only from the content, but from the kind of content, the sequencing of content, and the dynamic nature of that content. It's no longer a static electronic brochure, which was the historical method and where it usually was sourced from.
Okay, great. And you mentioned in the presentation that the ANSOR solution is built on the Microsoft SharePoint and Office platform. Can you talk a little bit about why you went in that direction and about how that decision has impacted the final product?
Sure, we chose that actually for a number of key reasons that we found as challenges when we talked to clients. So one is the fact that the process and the nature of the content was really no longer oriented towards a web CMS. And a lot of the original proposal systems were all based on web CMSs. The other part is we really wanted to make sure that we delivered significant innovation. And that innovation really goes on top of the underlying plumbing that most applications need to have, whether that's security, database, things like that. So SharePoint and Microsoft Office are two critical tools that almost all law firms have invested in today. And our feeling when talking to law firms when we were developing this product was that we needed to make sure that law firm, not only the lawyers, but the business development people had a set of tools they already knew how to use. So if we could help IT by using the plumbing that they had already invested in, if we could help developers and attorneys use tools that they already learned how to use and are on their desktop, this was literally a no deployment solution for most law firms. We could deploy as a site collection in their SharePoint farm, and we actually add no code to the Outlook and Word integration that's already on the desktop image.
Rich, a more general question for you now. What strategic changes do you recommend to law firms to meet the growth in RFP activity that you're seeing in the marketplace?
I think they need to address the tool set they've got to make sure that they can respond with the right content and add that content to the proposal as needed, and then also manage the content. So those two critical areas, one is really operational reporting and measuring the entire opportunity lifecycle and make sure you measure outcomes. And therefore you can look at, what was the origination point, what was the outcome, what is your success, and then tune the rest of the organization to follow best practices. And the other part really is the content, and recent relevant experience is really the critical differentiating factor to general counsels today. And the need to improve your experience database and to have an experience database that supports the activities that you're going after, whether that activity is, frankly, RFP, live business development, I'm walking up to somebody, I need it mobile, or in a document. Your systems need to be able to support that because that is the new paradigm that people are doing business. It's no longer pure relationship.